Today we're talking 2015. What a time to be alive. So, picture this. The year is 2015. Justin Bieber is at the top of his career. He just dropped his best-selling album, Purpose. Everyone is wearing his merch on the street. You can't avoid listening to Sorry, What Do You Mean? Or Hotline Bling by Drake whenever you leave your house. This particular design was slapped on everything, including clothing. Everyone had an iPhone 5 or an iPhone 6. Pictures were much lower quality, so everyone looked great. These girls ran the world. Other honorable album releases of the year that marked the vibe of 2015 were Badlands by Halsey, Blurryface by 21 Pilots, Wiped Out by The Neighborhood, Currents by Tame Impala, and Beauty Behind the Madness by The Weeknd. All of these albums were heavily influenced by the 2013 and 2014-ish angsty sound that music had going on back then. So, moving on to fashion, because that's what we're gonna be discussing today. Let's start off by saying that yes, 2015 trends were still being heavily influenced by 2014, just like music was. In my personal opinion, 2015 was a transitional year. We were transitioning from the early 10s and kind of the very grunge era that happened before that year to 2016 and kind of the later half of the decade. So when discussing this specific year, we have to remember the fact that there was a huge 90s revival during the mid-10s. Trends were heavily influenced by that specific decade. So the first thing that everyone was wearing and that no one could avoid were skinny jeans. And I've seen a lot of discussion about skinny jeans kind of coming back. I will say what I think about that in another video because I have a lot of opinions. But back in 2015, we were wearing skinny jeans with everything. Literally every single shoe you can think of was being worn with a pair of skinny jeans. Back then, skinny jeans were being worn with crop tops, band t-shirts. Obviously, stripes were such a big thing. Another thing that was being worn with skinny jeans were crop tops with zippers. These type of crop tops with this specific zippers, they were all the rage back then. Everyone was wearing this with a skinny jean and some little booties. Also, random cutouts. I feel like back then, dresses and also crop tops used to have the most random cutouts. Something else that also had people on a chokehold. And looking back, oh my god, this is just... this was a choice. Ripped leggings. They were being worn by a huge amount of people, including Kendall Jenner. Which, you guys let me know in the comments, what do you think about this trend? I hope it never comes back because, I don't know, it just looks so uncomfortable. Also, the way that she paired... no, I don't like it. Oh my god. I can't believe that was a thing. The next thing that was super popular, and I feel like people kept using this until the very early 20s, which is when fashion completely changed again, were lace-up shirts like this one and very, very tight bodysuits. This was such a big thing back then. I used to have a black one. Wearing that with some black skinny jeans, some boots, that was definitely a thing back then. Super interesting. I don't know how I feel about it anymore. I definitely look at them and just, I think they're so last decade. No one is really wearing this anymore. The next thing that happened in 2015 was King Kylie era. I didn't really remember if this was 2015 or 2016, but I looked it up and her lip kits launched in November 2015. And I feel like this really marked what 2016 was gonna be when it comes to makeup trends. Looking back, I think makeup trends in 2016 were kind of a mess. I don't really miss that era. Everything was so matte, and those lip tints that Kylie released would dry the fuck out of your lips. It was kind of nasty. Something else that was super popular in 2015 was the high-waisted jean and skirts. This was the decade of high-waisted everything, and I think it stems from the 90s as well. Something else that was super popular at the time were off-the-shoulder tops. Back then, we had two specific off-the-shoulder tops. One was super tight, it was cropped, and it kind of fitted very well with the high-waisted jeans that we were using. And the other type of the shoulder tops kind of had this balloon sleeves. They usually came in this baby blue shade. I feel like people used to use that color a lot, and also with stripes, but not horizontal stripes. People started using vertical stripes. I feel like people got sick of the horizontal stripes because that was such a 2014 thing. Something else that was big at the time were chokers. Oh my god. Who remembers this? These were definitely taken from the 90s. Here's the thing with chokers and why they got popular super fast. People could DIY them in their home. I never did it because I suck at DIY, but they were made from plastic hair ties. The small ones that, I don't know, my mom used to make our hair with those when we were little. Those were the ones that people were using to make chokers. So the trend kind of spread really fast. It was a short-lived trend as well. I feel like it was only popular in 2015 because that became a trend. Brands started adding chokers into their clothes, which was very interesting. I used to have a shirt that kind of cut off in here, but then it had like an added choker. So that was super popular in 2015, 2016, and I think until 2017. It was so big at the time, and it definitely stemmed from the choker trend that started in 2015. It might have started in 2014. I just don't remember really seeing it until 2015. Let's talk about shoes for a second. The shoes that were being worn were Stan Smiths, and they came in different patterns and colors as well. And also the Adidas Superstars. Those two shoes, especially the Adidas Superstars, marked the rest of the decade. I feel like no one really stopped wearing them until the 20s. Now that it's the 20s, the Adidas Sambas definitely took over, and I don't really see a lot of people wearing Superstars anymore. I feel like they ran its course. Something else that was popular at the time were furry keychains. I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce furry. Oh, this gives me such bad PTSD. I actually didn't know this started in 2015. I first saw them in 2016 because I was in high school and everyone used to have one. It was kind of the thing back then. Something else that was popular in 2015 were neutrals, especially gray. I feel like we don't talk enough about how gray had such a big moment in 2015 because the 90s came back so strong. We went through a minimalism era, and with minimalism being a thing, gray became such a popular color to wear on clothes. I used to have a lot of gray sweaters because it was what every store was selling at the time, and then I realized that gray doesn't look that great on me. The next thing that was popular this year were slip-on sneakers. I think this became popular in 2015, but I definitely saw them after as well. I don't really like them anymore. I didn't like them back then, and I still don't like them. I think I had one pair and they were super ugly, but I don't have a picture. I don't like them. Something else that started trending during the late 2010s was camo. I don't know why that happened. I don't know if it had a moment in the 90s because I don't really remember it. Well, of course I don't remember it, so I wasn't alive. But camo kept on trending until around 2018. We had camo pants, camo tops. This was usually paired up with braids, specifically French braids. I think French braids were the hairstyle of 2015. I don't know why this happened. I remember everyone in middle school wearing this. I also remember suede boots and long t-shirts being worn as dresses. I think this was specifically worn by the Kardashians as well. I'm sorry that I'm mentioning them a lot in this video, but we have to remember that they were very popular during the 2010s. I don't really think they're as popular anymore. They're definitely not setting trends. Something else that started trending was the brand Off-White. Oh my god, this was also so big during the late 2010s. So we know that in 2013, Virgil Abloh, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing his name, rebranded the company as Off-White, and in 2014 he added a women's line. So obviously by 2015 it was way more popular, and it definitely marked the later half of the decade as well. Something else that also became big, and I know he's so problematic and I don't like him, but Yeezys. We know that that's Kanye's brand. His whole thing is like, or it used to be, I don't really know where the brand is at right now, but back then he used to incorporate fashion and music. So Kanye began producing clothing in 2015 for the Yeezy Season 2 runway show. This made Yeezys a really big brand during the second part of the 2010s. Yeezys used to sell out in minutes. I'm not sure if that's still happening. Something else that was big during this year was the shirt and dress layering in a 90s type of way. I did this in high school as well, but it wasn't 2015, it was a little later. This was such a big thing, kind of layering a white long sleeve turtleneck with a little strappy top. That was a big thing, kind of pledging some sort of allegiance to Rachel Green from Friends. The next thing that was popular during these years were bomber jackets. This became such a big thing back then. I don't really like them anymore, which is so interesting. I still have one that I thought resembled Gigi Hadid's line with Tommy Hilfiger. That was not 2015, that was later. But bomber jackets became super popular this year. We will see them with skinny jeans all the time. Also, different graphics on them. That was very interesting. People loved collecting different designs. Something else that trended this year were bandanas. Remember, Coachella became super mainstream in like 2013. So by 2015, every single famous person was going, and also influencers, or like the very beginning stages of influencers. People loved to wear these bandanas to the event, so that kind of transitioned into normal fashion, and I guess fashion all around the world, because brands started selling this specific bandana designs. All of these trends that were created in 2015 kind of slipped onto the next following years as well. We have to remember that TikTok was not around during this time, so trends travel much slower. Okay, something else that was popular this year was the creeper. This is a shoe design by Alexander Wang. I never actually saw them in real life, but I'm guessing they were being worn in bigger cities. This was definitely stemming from 2014. It was what people were wearing back then, kind of this angsty grunge looks. Another pair of shoes that people loved were suede lace up knee boots. I still have mine. I actually wore them back in November. Everyone was wearing that with everything, specifically during the winter months. I feel like during Christmas this was the shoe to wear at the time. Another trend was the cropped denim and leather jackets. This was so big back then. Pairing that up with Doc Martens or Adidas Superstars, you were a fashion icon. I also want to talk about the iconic Kendall Jenner heart-shaped hairstyle that she posted on Instagram during this year. At one point in time, this was the most liked picture on Instagram. Everyone wanted to recreate that picture. It was such a big thing back then. What a time to be alive. I feel like 2015 was such a pivotal year to kind of set the tone for 2016. I'm definitely gonna do a video about 2016 fashion trends in 2026. I might make this a recurring series every single year. Anyways, I hope you guys like this video, and definitely subscribe if you want more fashion videos, and yeah, I love you.